I have been using a paper planner on and off since I was about 10 years old. However, it wasn't until I incorporated my spiritual life with my actual planning that I really started planning consistently, and I actually felt like it was helping me with my life overall. Now, your planner is a space where you can keep track of appointments, to-do lists, and notes. It is the spot that helps you to stay organized. However, it is not just about organization or getting things done. It is also a tool for discipleship, for discipline, and for direction. And when we use our planner with intention, it becomes less practical and way more spiritual. So let's talk about the 6 things that I do every single week in order to make sure that I am incorporating God into my planning. The first thing that I will do as soon as I sit down and I open up my planner, I will go to the Lord before I start to plan. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plan." So this means before I start to add all of my stickers and write down all of the different things that I need to do, I will go to the Lord. I will take 2 minutes to say a prayer before I plan, to meditate for a couple minutes and get quiet, so that as I am planning out my week, I am opening up myself for God to talk to me during this process. I am also asking God for clarity, for peace, for wisdom, for direction throughout my entire week. For any appointment, to-do list, meeting, notes that I might need to take throughout the week, I want Him to be in it all. The second thing that I will do in my planning process is I'm going to plan for purpose. So yes, I am adding my appointments. Yes, I have my meetings and my to-do list, but I am also adding things that I want to do for my family in the upcoming week, and things that I want to do for my marriage, and things that I want to do for the community that I'm building. There are multiple things that are on my to-do list that I believe are about serving other people. So I am making sure that I am carving out that time for those relationships, those meetings, those different community events that I believe that I am supposed to be a part of. And I'm making sure that all of my plans aren't just errand or to-do list related. So whatever community-based items that you might have, or goal-based items that you know you are supposed to be working on this particular week, make sure that you take some time out this week to focus on those things. Even if you carve out 30 minutes to look at something on your lunch break, it is getting you a little bit closer to purpose. And I believe that God wants us to plan for purpose. So I will do this every single week when I am writing everything in my weekly planner. I will make sure that I have allocated some things that I believe will either help some other people or push me a little bit further into the purpose that God has designed me to do. And after I have planned my entire week, the third thing that I'm going to do is track my progress. I am tracking my progress throughout the entire week. I want to make sure that I have done at least 75% of the things that I have listed in my planner. This helps me to make sure that I'm not being too distracted, I am not doom scrolling and just looking on social media, and that I am still pursuing the things that I have written down. So to get the most out of this process, you definitely have to be as honest as possible with your planner. I have to write down all of the details of everything that I would like to do, and also keep track of what I actually did. So I like to use a black pen in order to write in all of my plans, and then I will go back with a red pen to write down what actually happened. Having these 2 different colors helps me to see all of the plans that I had in place and what actually happened throughout the week, and then I can give myself a score at the end of the week. I will count all of the tasks that I wanted to do throughout the week, and then I will see how many I got completed and give myself a score. If the score is 75% or higher, I consider that a very good week. If it's under 75%, then I will look and see how I could improve. But once I have that score, I will do my 4th step, which is to reflect and realign. Like we said, every single week won't be perfect. However, sometimes we do know where we could have done better. I will reflect over my week and I will ask myself, did I honor God with my time? I will reflect over my spending for the week and ask myself, did I honor God with my spending? And I will spend time and just think about how I could possibly adjust and do a little bit better in the next week. Sometimes that looks like not assigning as many tasks throughout my week. Sometimes it's actually giving myself some self-care and some rest time that is built into my week. And sometimes I am focusing in on my discipline and just telling myself that I need to do better. This is not the time to beat yourself up. It is really more about aligning yourself with God's purpose for your life. The fifth step in my process to make sure that my planning is aligning with my spiritual life is to make sure that I am planning for self-care. Yes, we have to plan for purpose. We have to plan for God's calling over our lives. However, God has given us plenty of examples of showing us how important rest is. Even when God created the world, on the seventh day, he rested. God did not have to rest. He's God. I think he did that to show us an example of how we are supposed to live our life. We are supposed to have a Sabbath. We are supposed to have a rest day. And so building in rest throughout your week is definitely going to be important to the process of you actually planning your life and aligning your life with God's purpose. So we're not just planning for your to-do list. We're not just planning for bills. We are also planning for self-care, for your health, for your workouts, and for your rest. I like to have 15-minute increments throughout my day. So I will usually have 3 throughout my work day. And then I have a full day on Sunday where I do a 24-hour Sabbath and I am resting the entire day after church. But make sure you're baking it into your schedule. It needs to be a part of your routine so that your body does not force you to rest. And the last thing that I like to do is to constantly remember Matthew 25:23, which says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That is our goal. That is what we want to hear, even when it comes to our planner. We are being intentional with every single area of our life. We are taking time to actually pay attention to the things that God has given us, to our family, to our friends. We are putting forth the best version of ourselves. And when we do that on a consistent basis, I do believe that God will tell us, "Well done, good and faithful servant," because we have incorporated him in every area of our lives. Well, guys, I hope that this video has helped you. Y'all let me know in the comments below how you have aligned the practical side of planning with your spiritual life, how it has helped you overall on your journey to being more productive. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you all in my next video. Until then, keep organizing your life so that you can achieve your dreams. Bye, guys.